Welcome back, everybody, to Beyond the Mysteries, where we uncover the secrets they don't want you to know. Tonight, we're diving into a pretty chilling event
Yeah.
that's left a lot of people scratching their heads, mysterious lights over New York and New Jersey.
Definitely mysterious.
So were they just drones or satellites like the officials are saying, or is there something a lot weirder going on?
Well, you know what's really interesting is the sheer number of reports.
Yeah, I mean...
We're not just talking about a couple of blurry photos here.
Right.
There are videos, photos, and eyewitness accounts from all over.
Okay, so this is a great place to start, right? We've all seen those stories, the grainy photos and shaky videos, people jumping to conclusions.
Right.
But what makes this case different?
It's the consistency of the details across all those reports.
Oh, okay.
So, for example, multiple videos show something appearing out of thin air, like it's coming out of a portal almost.
Hold on, a portal. I'm picturing like Doctor Strange.
Oh.
You know what I mean? Can you describe what we're actually seeing in this footage?
Yeah, so it's this dark, circular shape against the night sky.
Yeah.
It pops up for a second, and then this bright light shoots out of it, like it's being ejected or something.
Wow.
And then the portal, if we want to call it that,
Sure.
just vanishes like it was never there.
That is not your average drone malfunction. I gotta say.
No, it's not.
You would think with all this video evidence, we'd have a clear answer from the authorities by now.
Yeah.
But instead, it's the same old story. Drones, satellites, weather balloons, the drill.
And that's where people start getting skeptical.
Yeah.
If it was that simple, we'd have radar data flight logs, satellite images to back it up.
Right.
But that information is nowhere to be found.
It's not just that we're missing explanations. We're missing the evidence to support any explanation.
Exactly. It's like someone just erased the whole thing.
Wow.
Some researchers have even filed those Freedom of Information Act requests to the FAA and NORAD for data from that night. And they've been either completely ignored or they get information that's totally blacked out.
So we have zero explanation and zero transparency.
Pretty much.
Makes you wonder what they're hiding, right? But here's the thing that I find really strange in all of this. Where are all the pilots? Where are the air traffic controllers? The astronomers?
Oh, that's a great point.
I mean, these are the people who watch the sky for a living.
Right.
You'd think they would have seen something this bizarre.
You would, but there's actually a historical reason for this.
Oh, really?
Pilots especially, they've always been hesitant to report UFO sightings.
Why is that?
Well, think about it. Their careers depend on them being reliable observers.
I agree.
Reporting a UFO could mean they're unreliable or even worse.
Also, it could actually hurt their career.
Exactly. It could lead to ridicule, grounding, even losing their license.
Wow. So there's like a culture of silence around this.
Kind of like a don't ask, don't tell policy, but for UFOs.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. And it's not just pilots, right?
No air traffic controllers, even astronomers, they might be hesitant to speak up to.
Because they don't want to be seen as conspiracy theorists.
Exactly.
So we have this massive event over one of the most populated areas in the world, and the people who would be most likely to have seen it are keeping quiet.
It is pretty strange.
It really adds to the mystery.
Okay, but let's play devil's advocate for a second.
Right.
Let's say it wasn't drones, satellites, or weather balloons. What are some other explanations? What theories are people considering?
Well, since we don't have clear answers, there are some really interesting theories out there.
Like what?
One that's gaining a lot of traction is the idea that these lights weren't machines, but something called plasmoids.
Plasmoids. Okay, you're going to have to break this one down for me. What are plasmoids, and why would they be flying over New York and New Jersey?
So a plasmoid is basically a structure made of plasma,
Okay.
which is sometimes called the fourth state of matter.
It's kind of like a self-contained blob of electrified gas.
Okay.
And they can do some really strange things.
Like what?
They've been seen in labs, moving in ways that seem to break the laws of physics.
So you're saying we're talking about blobs of intelligent energy just floating around.
It's a wild idea, I know.
That's pretty mind-blowing.
But some scientists think certain plasmoids could act in complex ways, even seeming intelligent or aware.
Right.
And the way these lights moved, appearing and disappearing, suddenly it kind of lines up with what we know about plasmoids.
Okay, but why would they show up over a major city like New York? Are they attracted to people or something, or is it just random?
That's a great question, and honestly, we don't know for sure. Some researchers think they might be drawn to electromagnetic energy, which is everywhere in cities, but it's still a big mystery.
Okay, so plasmoids are a possibility. What other explanations are out there? I mean, we can't talk about strange lights without at least thinking about, extraterrestrials.
Of course not. And while we should always be skeptical, we can't just rule out the possibility of alien visitors.
Right, especially when you consider all the UFO sightings over the years.
Yeah.
This isn't the first time people have reported seeing strange things in the sky.
It's true. There's a long history of UFO reports.
Right.
And many of them sound a lot like what happened over in New York and New Jersey.
Things defying gravity, moving in impossible ways, vanishing without a trace.
Yeah, it's a pattern that goes back decades, maybe even centuries.
And it's not just the sightings themselves, right? There's also the whole issue of government secrecy and cover-ups.
Absolutely.
I mean, Roswell Project Blue Book, the ATIP program, it's a long list of incidents where people question the official story.
That's true, and it's important to keep that in mind
Yeah.
when we're looking at these events, because the history of secrecy around UFOs makes it hard to take official explanations at face value.
Right. It's like, how can we trust what they're saying, NW, when they've been so shady about UFOs in the past?
It's a valid question.
And here's where things get even weirder and maybe a little disturbing.
Okay.
We're not just talking about a lack of explanation. There's evidence that information about this is being actively suppressed online.
You mean censored?
Yeah, like there are reports of videos and discussions about the New York and New Jersey lights being shadow banned or removed from social media.
Wow.
Some people are even saying they have to use code words to find information about it.
Code words, like a secret language for UFOs?
Yeah, it sounds crazy, but that's what some people are claiming.
That's wild.
They say that if they use certain terms, the algorithms flag their content and make it harder to find.
So it's not just the government being quiet, it's like someone's trying to erase this whole thing from the internet.
Yeah, like they're saying, nothing to see here, move along.
It really makes you wonder who's controlling the narrative and why.
Right, if there's nothing to hide, why all the secrecy?
Exactly.
It's almost like they want us to doubt what we saw with our own eyes.
Well, that's a classic disinformation tactic.
What do you mean?
To create confusion and doubt, make people question their own perceptions.
So what can we do?
Be critical of the information you see and try to find multiple sources.
So where do we go from here? Incredible sightings, wall of silence from officials, possible cover-ups, and now this whole social media suppression thing. It's like we're living in an X-Files episode.
It does have all the classic elements. A mystery, unexplained events, conflicting information, and powerful forces working in the shadows.
And we'll keep unpacking this mystery after a quick break.
It's times like these that make you realize how much we don't know about the world.
It's exciting and kind of scary at the same time.
Yeah.
What else is out there that we're not seeing or maybe not allowed to see?
Exactly. And that's why it's so important to keep asking questions, to challenge what we think we know, and be open to new ideas, even radical ones.
But how do we do that in a world where information is so controlled?
Right.
I mean, we talked about the lack of transparency, silencing witnesses, social media suppression. It feels like we're up against something really powerful.
It can definitely feel that way, but it doesn't mean we're powerless.
Okay, so what can we do?
Well, one of the most important things is to spread the word.
Right.
Talk about these events, share what you've learned, encourage others to look into it themselves.
So don't let it get buried. Get people talking.
Yeah.
Get people thinking critically.
That's it. The more people who know about this, the harder it is to hide.
And what about the people in charge?
Yeah.
The government officials, the agencies that are supposed to be investigating this stuff.
Yeah.
Can we hold them accountable?
Absolutely. You can contact your elected officials, write letters, make calls, go to town hall meetings.
Okay.
Let them know this matters to you, that you want transparency and answers.
So don't let them blow it off like it's nothing. Make them see that people are watching and we want the truth.
Exactly. They work for us and they need to listen to our concerns.
But what if they just give us the same old excuses?
Right.
Like it's just drones or you're overthinking it,
Don't accept that. Push back. Ask for proof. Ask for specifics. And if they can't or won't give you a real answer, make sure everyone knows about it.
So go to social media, talk to reporters, spread the word.
Exactly. Don't let them control the story. And speaking of reporters,
Yeah.
we need to support the independent media and researchers who are willing to really dig into these stories.
Because let's be honest, the mainstream media hasn't been doing a great job with this.
Yeah, they often ignore these stories completely, or
Right.
they just repeat the official line.
So go straight to the source, support the people doing the real work.
Exactly. Share their articles, their videos, their podcasts, help them get the truth out there.
But what about the people who actually saw something?
Right.
Like the pilots, air traffic controllers,
Right.
scientists who might be afraid to talk?
That's a really important point. We need to create a safe space for them to come forward.
Right.
So they can share their stories without being ridiculed or punished.
So no more calling them crazy or risking their jobs for telling the truth?
Exactly. We need to encourage whistleblowers because they often have the answers.
Okay, so raise awareness, put pressure on the powerful support, independent media, and protect whistleblowers. It's a lot to take on, but of all the theories we've talked about, I keep thinking about the plasmoids.
Really?
I don't know why, but it just grabs me.
It is a fascinating theory.
Yeah, and it's getting more attention as scientists learn more about how plasma acts.
Yeah.
What I find so interesting is the idea that these lights might be alive in a way. Not machines, but something more like organisms. It changes how we think about what life could be.
It really does. And if it turns out to be true, it would change everything about how we understand the universe and ourselves.
Imagine we could be sharing this planet with other intelligent life, and we wouldn't even know it because they're so different from us.
It's mind-blowing.
It makes you wonder, what can they do? What do they want? What do they think of US?
So many questions.
It's incredible and also a little scary. It's like we're on the edge of a whole new world of discovery.
And don't forget about the extraterrestrial hypothesis. We need to be careful about jumping to conclusions, but we can't just ignore the possibility of aliens.
Especially with so many UFO sightings over the years.
Exactly.
And the way these things move, defying our laws of physics, vanishing into thin air.
And then there's the lack of official explanations, the missing data, the possible cover-ups.
Yeah, it all points to something strange happening.
It really does.
And if it is extraterrestrial, that opens up a whole new can of worms.
Why are they here? What do they want? Are they friendly, or should we be worried?
And what does it mean for humanity if we're not alone? It's a lot to think about.
It is, but it's also a reminder of how big and mysterious the universe is, and how much we still don't understand.
So whether it's plasmoids, aliens, or something else entirely,
right,
we're definitely dealing with something extraordinary.
Something that challenges our beliefs and makes us face the unknown.
But one thing's for sure, we're not going to just sit here and accept the official story.
Nope.
We're going to keep digging, keep asking questions, and keep searching for the truth.
And hopefully someday we'll get those answers.
Well, we've looked at eyewitness accounts, the missing explanations, alternative theories, the historical context, and even a possible cover-up.
But the big question remains, what really happened that night over New York and New Jersey?
Maybe we'll never know for sure.
But the search for answers is just as important as the answers themselves.
That's a good point.
It's about being open-minded, questioning what you're told, and never giving up on the truth.
And on that note, we'll leave you with this thought. Keep looking up, stay curious, and never stop exploring the mysteries of the universe.
Aww.
Wow. So after all that, it feels like we went down this crazy rabbit hole, but we're still no closer to the truth.
Yeah, it's a real head-scratcher.
So what are some things our listeners should keep in mind after this deep dive?
Well, I think the biggest takeaway is that we can't always trust what officials tell us, especially when it comes to something like UFOs.
Right, it's controversial. It could change everything we think we know.
Exactly.
We've seen so many times that the people in charge might have reasons to keep things secret, you know? Maybe to prevent panic.
Right.
Maybe to protect national security, or maybe just to stay in power.
It's true.
So we have to be really careful about the information we're given.
Yeah.
Question everything. Look for other sources. Don't just take their word for it.
Absolutely. Do your own research. Look for the holes in the story and be open to different perspectives.
It's like being a detective, right?
Exactly.
You gather evidence, look for inconsistencies, follow the trail wherever it leads.
Even if it takes you to some strange places.
And sometimes the most important clues come from the people who actually saw it.
The eyewitnesses.
Yeah. We can't just ignore their experiences just because it doesn't fit with what we think we know.
Exactly.
It's easy to dismiss one report, but when you have lots of people from different places all describing the same thing in detail, it's hard to ignore.
Especially when their stories match up with what we've seen in other UFO cases, patterns that go back years.
Right. It makes you think there's got to be more to it than just mistakes or hoaxes.
I think so.
And this case shows how important it is to talk openly about UFOs and all these strange things.
Yeah.
We need to get rid of the stigma, the fear, the ridicule that's been around this topic for so long.
I agree. Imagine what we could learn if scientists, pilots, military people, regular folks all felt comfortable sharing what they've seen.
It could totally change how we understand the universe and our place in it.
Absolutely.
We could finally answer some of those big questions that have been with us forever. Are we alone? What other life is out there? What don't we understand about reality?
Those are some big questions.
They are, and we need to explore them without being afraid or judgmental.
Right.
The events over New York and New Jersey might actually be a good thing in a way.
How so?
They could push us toward a new era of scientific exploration and discovery.
It's possible.
Because they remind us that there's still so much we don't know about the world around us.
Yeah, the universe is full of mysteries, just waiting to be uncovered.
So keep your eyes on the skies. Everyone stay curious and never stop questioning.
Good advice.
And if you see something strange, don't be afraid to talk about it. You might just hold the key to one of the universe's biggest secrets.
Well said.
This has been The Deep Dive. Thanks for listening, everyone.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, give us a like, leave a comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to click the bell icon to stay updated on the latest unexplained phenomena, hidden truths, and government secrets they don't want you to know.